charity from the Jewish Socialist Group. Happy New Year to everyone celebrating the Jewish New Year. I want to say something about the importance of this park and where we're standing. And to do that, I want to go back first of all to the 30th of April 1978. On that day, I was one of 80,000 people who marched from the West End to the East End on the first anti-Nazi League carnival. We were protesting then against the fascists of those days, the National Front, and against their racist attacks. And that day, on April 30th, 1978, we really felt that the streets belonged to us. 4 days later, the day of local council elections, we were forced to reassess. Because just 4 days after that mass mobilisation, a young Bengali clothing worker in the East End, Altab Ali, was stabbed to death by racists as he was going home from work. And he was stabbed to death in Adler Street, just alongside this park. This park then used to be known as St. Mary's Gardens. It used to have a church until World War II, which was destroyed in the Blitz. The Nazis have been invading and attacking the East End long before the EDL were thought up. 15 years ago, this park was renamed Altab Ali Park. And every year, on May the 4th, people gather at the Shahid Minar to rededicate themselves to the fight against racism and to remember Altab Ali. They were teenagers who stabbed Altab Ali to death. Teenagers who were not born racists, but their minds were poisoned by racism very early on, and this is where it leads. On the day that Altab Ali was stabbed to death, the National Front collected 7,000 votes here in Tower Hamlets. A few days later, the East End was shut down. People from the local community marched from here to Downing Street behind a car that was carrying Altab Ali's coffin. And in those days, the National Front would gather every Sunday morning on the corner of Brick Lane and Bethnal Green Road. They would sell their paper. They would have a bookstall with books like one was titled, "Did 6 million really die?" That was the kind of stuff they had on their bookstall. And when they finished their paper sale and finished selling their books, they would often rampage down Brick Lane, throwing stones through windows and attacking the local Bengali community. But then the tide turned, and the people turned the tide. First of all, the Trades Council published a report, Blood on the Streets, that listed 100 of the most serious racist attacks that had happened in the area, and how little the police had done about it. But then Bengali youth movements grew, and those Bengali youth movements united with the Trades Council, united with other local anti-racist activists, and chased the fascists out of the East End. Today, as was said, not only did the EDL want to come to Whitechapel, they wanted to come here to Altab Ali Park. They would be dancing on Altab Ali's grave. I'm not a religious person, I'm a secular Jew, but to me, to have the EDL in Altab Ali Park is a desecration, an outrage, and an abomination. But the strength of our campaign has meant there's only one rally in Altab Ali Park today, and it's our rally, an anti-fascist rally. The EDL also claimed that if they got here and had their rally, that one of their speakers would have been a Jewish person. My message to the EDL is be careful what you wish for. If you wanted a Jewish speaker in Altab Ali Park, well, you've got one. But he's an anti-fascist Jew whose family fought back against the fascists and the racists in the 1930s and 40s, and who regards the Muslim community and all communities of the East End as friends and comrades with a common enemy. And our enemy is certainly the EDL. Muslims Jews refuse to be enemies. Our enemy is racism, our enemy is fascism. Our enemies are the purveyors of hate, discrimination, sexism, homophobia, inequality, all of those who sow division in our community. We cannot bring back Al-Tabali, whose life was so brutally cut short. But we can remember Al-Tabali by being here today and by doing everything in our power to end racist attacks, end racist murders in Britain today, and to make sure that the East End remains a multicultural space for everyone that respects each other, but a no-go area for the racists and the fascists. Don't let the EDL divide us. No pasarán.